Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Curse of Oak Island team believes it has found the gold. The Curse of Oak Island finally had what might be its biggest breakthrough on the show. This week, they believe they have finally figured out where the gold at the money pit is buried. This could finally lead them to capture the elusive treasure after all these years. Here is a look at how they found the possible gold and what is next. Curse of Oak Island possibly finds gold. The team from the Curse of Oak Island believes they have finally found their gold. Thanks to their geologist, Dr. Ian Spooner's electronic slide, they believe they have pinpointed where the gold might be buried on the island. As expected, it was near the garden shaft at the money pit. There was a pink blob that showed up on the slide that the guys say shows where a large deposit of gold has been buried. Spooner collected water samples from around the money pit into plastic bottles. This entire procedure was to find out if there was gold in the water and determine where it might be located if there is. From the experiment, Spooner has figured out where the gold is buried. That happens to be just about 10 feet west of the garden shaft. When everyone got together in the war room, Marty asked about the gold. That is when Spooner pulled out a slide with a pink blob and he said that is where the buried gold is located. What is next for Curse of Oak Island? Now it is time to figure out how they will go about getting to the buried treasure. The good news is that they don't need something as big as the excavation team that they hired to dig down to find hidden chambers. The Canadian government shut down that entire ordeal because they didn't have the proper permits. For this hidden gold, Dr. Dreadmichael, the hydrogeologist, explained that the gold was not that deep under the water. He estimated the depth to be somewhere between 80 and 110 feet. This also lines up with previous explorers who found an inscribed stone at 90 feet, which is right there at about the same level. That marker was believed to be a marker for hidden treasure. That previous team had dug down to a platform that they had to abandon the dig due to flooding. That was in 1804, and Marty and his team have the tools now to get down there and possibly find it without worrying about flooding disrupting their work. It sounds like they plan to start digging for gold ASAP. After more than a decade of excavations, broken machinery, countless theories, and ever-deepening mysteries, the Curse of Oak Island team is on the verge of a breakthrough they could have only dreamed of. They believe they have found the gold. The sun hung low on the horizon, casting a golden light across the windswept island. The Legina brothers, Rick and Marty, stood at the edge of the money pit, the most infamous part of the Oak Island mystery. Behind them, the heavy-duty digging equipment loomed like mechanical beasts, ready to unearth the island's most closely guarded secrets. Today, the team's excitement was palpable, more so than ever before. After years of near misses, tantalizing clues, and endless determination, they had reason to believe this was the moment they had been waiting for. This could be it, Rick said, his voice thick with emotion. For years, he had been the heart of the search, driven not by greed but by an undying passion to uncover the truth. He had always felt that Oak Island was more than just a treasure hunt. It was a mystery woven into the fabric of history itself. Marty, ever the pragmatist, nodded but kept his enthusiasm tempered. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, he cautioned, though the spark in his eyes betrayed his own growing hope. The discovery had come earlier that week, deep in the bowels of the island beneath layers of sediment, stone, and seawater. After deploying the latest in sonar technology, they had detected a large metallic anomaly several feet beneath the surface. It was unlike anything they had seen before, and the shape, a mass of interlocking bars or perhaps a chest, hinted at something more than just natural geological formations. We've seen metal before, Marty reminded the team as they gathered around the newest scans, but never this much, and never so close to where we've always suspected the treasure might be. The scans had shown something almost too good to be true. The anomaly was large, buried deep, and seemed to be in line with the infamous flood tunnels that had long protected whatever lay beneath Oak Island. It had taken days to clear the debris and prepare for this moment. Now the excavators were in position, ready to bring up what could be the find of the century. The dig commenced at dawn. Heavy machinery groaned as it descended into the ground, inch by inch, removing earth and stone with surgical precision. As they went deeper, the air grew tense with anticipation. Every fragment pulled from the pit could be the one that led them to the prize they had been searching for. Craig Tester, their fellow treasure hunter and engineer, stood by, monitoring every movement. His eyes flickered between the equipment and the live feed from the borehole, where a camera descended into the darkness. "There," Craig shouted, startling everyone. The camera had caught a glimpse of something, metallic glints in the light. A collective gasp went up among the crew. The image was grainy, hard to interpret, but there was no mistaking it. Something shiny, something golden, was buried down there. Rick knelt by the pit, peering down into the abyss. For a moment, time seemed to stretch out, the wind whipping around him, the sea crashing in the distance. He had imagined this moment 1,000 times, played it over in his mind, but now that it was happening, it didn't feel real. Suddenly, the ground beneath them rumbled as the excavator's claw pulled up a massive, rusted object. It was a beam, centuries old and covered in barnacles and mud, but even through the grime they could see the faint shimmer of gold beneath the muck. "It's a support beam from an old structure," Marty said, recognizing its historical value immediately. "Could be part of a chamber." The team scrambled to clear it off. As they removed the dirt and detritus, the faint glint of something extraordinary began to emerge. Embedded within the beam were tiny flecks of gold, so fine that they almost seemed like dust, but there was no mistaking their brilliance. "Gold. There's definitely gold," Rick murmured, his eyes wide. His heart raced. They weren't just fragments from a miner's toolkit or a coin lost long ago. These were pure, untarnished, glimmering in the light of their equipment. The find was met with cautious excitement. The discovery of gold on Oak Island wasn't just another relic. It was a tantalizing confirmation that they were digging in the right place. All the stories, the myths of pirate treasure, and the speculation about royal riches hidden away had led them here. Alex Lagina, Marty's son and a crucial part of the team's younger generation, crouched down beside his father. "This could be the tip of the iceberg," he said, unable to contain his smile. For years they had uncovered historical artifacts, buttons, old coins, and manuscripts, but this was different. This felt like the prelude to something much larger. "This supports the theory that the gold was hidden in a vault or chamber deep below," Rick said. "It aligns with the stories of vast treasures protected by intricate traps." But as the excitement grew, so did the tension. What if this was only the beginning? The gold-flecked beam had been buried deep, but there could be much more lying further down, deeper than any of their technology had reached before. They made the decision to dig further. The night was falling, but no one cared. Floodlights lit up the pit as they continued to work into the darkness, pulling out more fragments of the beam. Each one shimmered faintly, and as they unearthed the next section, the unmistakable outline of a wooden chest emerged. It was half-rotted, held together by rusted metal bands, and barely recognizable beneath centuries of sediment. But there it was, the treasure chest they had dreamed of. Gold dust clung to its surface, shimmering under the lights. Marty reached out and brushed a hand over it, his voice catching in his throat. "We found it. After all this time, we finally found it." The team erupted in cheers, a mix of disbelief and elation. After years of digging, of chasing shadows and legends, they had finally found solid proof that the treasure of Oak Island was real. But even as they celebrated, Rick couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead. The island was still full of secrets, and the curse wasn't broken yet. But for now, they had gold, and that was more than enough.